My name is Don Summers and I'm a tillage farmer from County Wexford. I farm in partnership with my uncle and we grow approximately 450 to 500 acres of cereals on our farm. Variety of different crops. We grow winter wheat, winter barley, winter oats, winter oilseed rape, spring barley, spring beans and spring oats. We've been mint tilling since 2017 and we try to use as much organic manure as possible and cover crop as much as possible. We'd have a wide variety of soil types on our farm. We'd have some very heavy clay soils, we have some very light sandy soils, and we have everything in between. I changed to the Cayena drill in the spring of 2022. I chose the Amazon Cayena for a number of reasons. Firstly, I liked the build quality of the machine. I like a tine drill because I like the way it's able to cope in trashy conditions. I liked the fact that it gave me lots of output, so it meant I could drill a lot of ground when the conditions were right. I didn't have to work day and night to do that. I have a number of other Amazon implements and I've got on very well with them. I like the paintwork on them and I like the backup I get from both my dealer and from farmhand. The drill is pulled by a 7250 Dietz, which is 250 horsepower, but the drill requires far less horsepower than that. I'd say 180 to 200 horsepower will be more than capable in the spring and maybe 200 to 220 in the autumn when conditions are a little bit stickier. I averaged 3 litres per acre of diesel pulling the drill. The tractor never went over 1,400, 1,500 revs. It was at its leisure pulling the drill at 12, 13 kilometres an hour. The drill is very easy to set up. It came with the external controls for calibration, so I don't have to climb in and out of the tractor to set up the drill. I activate the external controls, I can put in my seeding rate, I can start the metering system, I can put in the amount metered out and set everything without having to get in and out while standing beside the metering system on the drill, which makes calibration very easy. The seed and fertilizer volume was very accurate. Once I calibrated it correctly, there was no issue with the amount of seed that went out. For instance, we were sowing oilseed rape. Our rate was 1.8 kilograms to the hectare, and that worked out pretty much 100%. We are doing less cultivations, but that's something that we've been moving towards anyway. The longer we're in mint till, the less cultivations are required. For instance, this autumn, our land got 1 run of a grubber and 1 run of a drill. Our total diesel used to establish our winter cereals was 8 litres per acre, which I find is very low, and very little man hours required to establish that crop as well. The previous drill I had a wider coulter on it, and I think that did make it slightly harder to pull. For instance, that drill was a 4 metre and this drill is a 6 metre, and I find them equivalent to pull. It does cope very well in trashy conditions as well. There's no risk of hairpinning when you have a lot of chopped straw or a lot of cover crop. It places the seed into clean soil all the time. I find the tine coulter on this drill pulls up far less stones, and any stones that it does pull to the surface, the matrix wheel packer is able to push them back down. So I do find less stones need to be picked after this drill. It copes very well in trashy conditions. It doesn't bury the trash, it leaves the trash on the surface, which is where I want it to be. So then the earthworms can pull it down into the soil. It places the seed into clean soil, so we had very good emergence after the crop, and it had no issues dealing with large volumes of chopped straw or cover crop residue. Yeah, I'm happy with the spacing of the coulters. I like to sow the crops on slightly wider spacings, especially on the likes of winter wheat. On winter oilseed rape, I would like to stop every second pipe so I can sow it on 12-inch spacings, because I think that allows the light to get down better to give you pods lower down on the plants. I'm very happy with the matrix packer. I found it worked very well this autumn in wet and sticky conditions. The scraper meant that soil never built up on the matrix packer. When sowing in the spring, I did not ring roll any of my crops, but looking back, I probably would have, purely because the spring came so dry. The extra run of the ring roller probably would have helped conserve some moisture, but in a normal year, I think you may get away without a run of the ring roller if time didn't allow. One of the highlights of this drill was the fact that it was fully isobus capable. So I bought the drill with no monitor. It plugged straight into my tractor and instantly the the geometry of the machine was uploaded for the auto steer. The screen works 100% on my Isabus screen and I've had no issues. I felt the diffuser worked well when I was sowing oilseed rape because there would have been a risk of the volume of air blowing the seed out of the furrow, but the diffuser meant that there wasn't a big volume of air that could blow the very light rapeseed out of the furrow. It worked very well when sowing beans and sowing cereals as well. I found that was one of the biggest advantages of this drill when we had quite a wet autumn, when soil conditions were less than ideal. It coped very well and I had very good emergence this autumn, even though conditions weren't good. I did direct drill some cover crops into stubble with this drill in the autumn and it did work quite well. I will continue to try doing this in the future and I hope to try direct drilling into a cover crop, but as of yet I haven't done that. So far there's very little evidence of wear on the drill, but I have only used it for one season yet, so it's hard to say, but any of the parts on the drill seem to be of a very good quality. The coulters have a hard facing on them, so I'm expecting to get a lot of acres out of those wearing parts. The seeding depth is quite easy to set. There are two ratchet handles on each side, one for the left side and one for the right side, and there's an easy to see scale as well, so all I have to do is ratchet one side and then the other and make sure they both match up on the scale, so it's very easy to do. I'm very happy with the emergence. I was a little bit concerned because tine drills tend not to give as accurate a seeding depth as a disc drill, but I have seen no issues with the emergence, and both in the spring in dry conditions and in the autumn in wetter conditions, I've been very happy with the emergence. I suppose my favourite thing about the Cayena drill is how easy it is to pull, the output I can get from it, and the fuel usage is so low. So this is a crop of winter wheat which was sowed on the 6th of October after the crop of oilseed rape. After the rape was cut, it got a very light run of a disc harrow and let the volunteers germinate, and then just before sowing it was sprayed off. It got one run of a grubber and was sowed then the following day. As you can see, there's a lot of trash, a lot of surface residue there, but the drill worked very well. It was well consolidated by the matrix packer, and yeah, we got very good establishment. It was a question of sow it, or if we hadn't sowed when we did sow it, it wouldn't have got sowed. It's just that the conditions were not ideal and the weather forecast showed they were going to get worse. So we made a decision, grubbed it, sowed it, and yeah, we got a 100% establishment and very happy with it. So for this part of the field, I decided to do an experiment and I skipped a pass with the grubber and sowed directly into the oilseed rape stubble with the Cayena drill. So where we are right now got no cultivations other than whatever the drill did, and as you can see, it's every bit as good as the part on either side of it where it was cultivated. So in future years I might try direct drilling after oilseed rape with the Cayena to see how it goes, but this experiment has showed that it will work. I would recommend that anyone who's thinking of buying a new drill to try it in their own field, in their own conditions. That's what I did. I tried this Amazon in my field and I bought that drill based on the demonstration I got. I would have no problem recommending the Cayena drill to a friend based on my experience.